Okay, so welcome back. So today we're going to take a few minutes and we're going to discuss the same graph that we did before, but realize that the last time we did this integral we had to split it up into two different intervals. But we could have done it a different way and reduced it down to one interval. Because we could have, instead of going this way, we could have defined these functions as functions in y, functions of y, instead of functions of x, which they are now. And done it in going vertical, okay? And in the next video, we're gonna go over this in more detail, but we could have easily have just defined these functions in terms of y. And said, okay, well, let's make this into, let's say, solve for x and make this, make this v of y, right? And v of y would equal plus or minus the square root of y, right? Because if we look at this as y equals x squared, we're just going to solve for x and make it in terms of x equals some function of y. Now in this case here, we don't need the negative part, right? It makes sense, it would just be valid just to use the negative part, but obviously from the graph we're not going to use this part, so it's just going to be the positive, right? So we're only interested in this part of the curve, okay? Now, u, right, we could have just defined u, right? So u of y, and in this case here, again, if we start with y equals 2 minus x, we can solve for x and make this into 2 minus y. And so we could define these in this way using these two functions, and then all we have to do is go in the y direction, right? So because everything's in y, we're going to go in the y direction and we're going to go from y equals 0 to y equals 1. So our new interval for all y in the interval, what? 0 to 1. Okay? And so in essence what we're doing is we're redefining our rectangles. In the previous, in the beginning we had our rectangles vertical. Well, in this way what we're going to find is, and what I'm going to show you is that we're basically flipping the rectangles to go horizontal. So it kind of flips everything 90 degrees when we change from functions of x to functions of y, and this is going to help us in a lot of cases where it's going to make calculating area simpler. Instead of having to do multiple pieces and putting together, we could reduce it to possibly only one calculation like this. Okay, and okay, so again, these have to be continuous functions over the interval, right? So all the other things for the definition of theorems still apply, but now we're going in the y direction instead of the x direction. Okay, and that's about it. So the next video, I'm going to go into detail showing how doing the rectangles and everything just like we did at the beginning. Okay, take care.